Welcome back, Kerbal. So today we're going to do the long-promised tourism mission. Now, of course, we know there isn't very much space tourism today, but it is something that's very likely to happen in the very short-term future. So we're going to change our moon flyer just a little bit to make this happen. We have a new passenger cabin. Couple of designs actually. Let's see here. So these are all kind of the main crew, and then we have. It's not structural. Here I go fumbling around. Sorry, guys. Let's go utility. Aha! Mark 1 crew cabin. So we have our pilot that we can take, and we're also going to cover a couple of tourists, or maybe we'll, fly some of our own guys in here, just to get them some experience. Now, my feeling is this isn't going to be enough of a parachute. Let's check the numbers. Can just barely orbit. That might be a problem. Okay. Well, anyways, we're gonna add a few parachutes. We're gonna add a couple of radial ones. They're all gonna be to the top because we don't want to cause an unbalance in our spacecraft here. So by having them all in the top, they'll all be kind of pulling from the same direction. Okay, yeah, we need a little bit more fuel if we're gonna make this work. Or maybe, hang on. Let's take our monopropellant out. Is there anything we can take out of here? Nope. Alright. That's okay. Well, let's give it a go. So this is going to be called Tourist Flyer. And let's give it a go. Alright. Check our staging real quick. Parachutes. Whoops. That is what the launch stability system is for, to prevent. In real life, that's why you actually hold down your rockets. And guess what? We're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to revert flight back to our VAB. And we're going to add some protection from that in the form of some coupling, or not coupling, yeah. No, structural. There we go. We probably only need one, but let's put 2 just for good measure. So hopefully that'll take care of that issue, and we'll be flying nice and smooth. Yep. It's amazing, when you hold a rocket down, it stays up so much more steady. So we obviously need to fire the rocket at the same time, if not first. In reality, they actually fire the rocket first, so they can do a quick systems check and make sure that it's all dandy before they go and launch the payload. But, whoop, another issue. Wow. We're learning here. So the issue is our thrust-weight ratio is too low. Our spacecrafts become a lot heavier. So what are we gonna do? Well, let's switch back to that other engine. It's a little bit more fuel efficient, and it has a much higher thrust to weight ratio. There we go. 1.4. That's sitting pretty decent. Now, of course, we're going to need some control. We're also going to add one more thing of fuel. Let's go with the half tank, just for really good measure. There we go. Now we have a little bit of slop just to make sure that we're going to make it. We should be fine. Alright. We have winglets now that can actually control our movement as opposed to just launch us into space. So I think the tail fin, we'll put 4 of them on for good measure. That's only 2. What happened? Oh, because I have 2 launch clamps, it seemed to think I only wanted 2 for some reason. It's a known, let's call it an issue in Kerbal Space Program. Whatever. 4 launch clamps, it won't hurt anything. That's actually the real number that most missions use. Okay. I'm feeling good about this. Hopefully we can make this happen this time. Okay, so what do we got? Engine fires, 4 clamps, separate. Yeah, this looks really good. Okay, one other issue we have too is we forgot to load in our tourists. It's always something. So, who are our tourists? Here they are. Gonna plug you guys in. Wilbert and Danbro. Alright, Wilbert and Danbro. Nice to have you aboard. Welcome to the maiden flight of the Kerbal Tourism Service. We're going to launch you into risk, and make sure you filled out your waivers just to make sure that, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing can possibly go wrong. And now we're going positive. Yay! So we're taking off nice and slow. That's okay. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so I was telling you about the launch clamps. They'll usually fire the rockets for a second or 2 before they let go of the launch clamps. And SpaceX in particular is well known for having to actually starting the engines and then realizing there's some kind of an issue and then aborting the mission. So sometimes even if you see smoke, that doesn't mean that it's actually taken off. The Falcon Heavy, it takes about 2 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds of the engine firing before they've actually lit all of the engines, and then they do their full engine tests and make sure that they're good to go. So it's quite a bit more extensive even. So we're about 1,000 kilometers. Whoops. Nothing to worry about, folks. We're doing just fine. Have some snacks. Wilbert and down, bro. Wilbert looks a little bit worried. I don't know. We got our ace Jebediah though for this mission, so everything will be just fine. Okay. So we're gonna lock into prograde now. It seemed to me like it used to be that this was the default attitude. So you can see that the rocket's actually waving a little bit. A lot. Ooh, that's bad. Nothing to worry about, Wilbert and Danbro. We'll still get you there. So it seems like the full stability, they're trying to overcorrect, which is causing some issues. So we're just going to keep going in this altitude, and hopefully we'll make it into orbit. One of these guys has signed on for a suborbital trajectory, and one of them signed on for full-blown orbital. So we're going to take care of both in one mission. So actually, one of the early Falcon 1 launches, back before they had everything, they actually fired the engine. It failed. They went and fixed the problem really quick, and they fired again and launched into orbit. And I think that was actually their successful mission. It's really kind of amazing. No other company will do that in the space business. You know, if you have a fail, you're probably toast for the day. And I don't know if the SpaceX would do that with the Falcon 9, but in the early days they were quite rambunctious and testing out all kinds of crazy stuff. So, as previously mentioned, we're burning here a little bit more horizontally. So try to make this mission a little bit more efficient, and hopefully won't have any issues. Hopefully we'll make it into nice, clean orbit. Oh, look at Dan, bro. He's excited now. He's smiling. He's like, "Wee, we're going into space, and the rocket's no longer vibrating all kinds of weird ways. I'm happy." As you should be. Okay, so we're coming up on 40 kilometers. Let's go ahead and burn a little bit more horizontally. How's our trajectory look? One good sign is if you're not actually approaching the Apoasis, you're probably doing pretty good. We're getting a little bit closer to it, so we're gonna burn just a little bit higher of an angle of attack here. And we should still be getting higher, which is good. So we're still approaching it, but it's much slower rate, so this is acceptable. We should make it into orbit just fine without any issues. We gotta take good care of our tourists here. In fact, we might actually be fairly close to a realistic one stage, not stage, one firing of the upper stage to orbit. Quite a ways downstage, that's pretty good. And we're getting a little bit further away, so we're actually doing good. We can go a little bit more horizontal now. You know what? I don't think we're going to make the single burn. I think we're going to have to do a dual burn. That's okay. Let's burn straight horizontal at this point in time. And we're almost outside of the atmosphere. Okay, we're outside of the atmosphere now, so we probably could achieve orbit if we kept going on this trajectory, but we're going to do this because it doesn't cost anything in Kerbal Space Program to do multiple burns, unlike reality. It's actually considered a risk. Most missions, they don't want to do multiple burns unless they absolutely have to. Although the latest Falcon Heavy demonstrated they could do 3 burns and still be fine. Let's get a little bit closer to that. See how our tourist Kerbal are doing. They're seeming pretty happy here, as they should be. It's a trip of an opportunity, something very few people have experienced. We've never had any suborbital tourists, although there's several companies working to make that happen. The two most well known are, of course, people who created the Spaceship One, who have launched it, which is the Galactic. Gosh, I'm totally gonna space this out. I'll get it next time, but they have shown some capability, some promise. We're gonna do a 3 burn to orbit. Poor guys. And Blue Origins has also launched a capsule that they can take men in, although they've never launched a manned mission. And they've launched this capsule several times into space. Blue Origins is probably the biggest rival to SpaceX in terms of their long-scale ambitions. They're having large rockets and all of that kind of stuff. So let's check on our tourist missions. So let's see. Yep, they're both happy. Now we just have to get them back safely, and all will be well. So with the new version, we can actually see, here's the Kerbal Space Center. So if we're going to land there, we want to probably do the burn about opposite to the planet. Let's try it about here. Let's see how closely we can hit the Kerbal Space Center. So just a scooch. Yeah, we have a pretty decent chance of being relatively close. Let's go. Actually, we're going to do the heat shield test again. I really, really doubt we'll manage to do it, but it's worth a shot. We still actually have plenty of fuel left over. Cool. Well, let's do a more realistic burn or ditch here. So we're going to ditch it at about 90 degrees. So that way there's pretty much no chance that it's going to cause us any issues. This is what they did with the Apollo when they did stages, especially Apollo 13. And usually it's what they do anytime they have some kind of a service module. They'll ditch it at an angle so that it's not going to come close. And they'll try to do it as late as they can into the mission. Okay, so only thing we got to do left is fire the parachutes. And let's just keep going. Virgin Galactic, that's the name of the company. How could I forget Virgin Galactic? They're the people who are doing the space tourism mission. They're doing it via an airplane design, whereas Jeff Bezos is doing something kind of similar to this, and he's going to try to reuse the booster stage. So of course he was the Blue Origins was the first company to successfully land and reuse a booster that went into space, but their booster just barely touched space, and it was for a pure test mission, whereas SpaceX has done it for missions that are paying customers and been able to reduce the cost of a launch by about $20 million. It's pretty significant. Okay, everyone's happy. They're like, yeah, we're going to be home soon. only doing an orbit, but they'll be happy to be home. Let's see here. We're slowing down a little bit. That's good. So we also took on a parachute testing mission, so we're going to see if we can do that too while we're at it. You notice it's pulled up here. Let's see how we do here. So, quite a bit of hope in my mind that suborbital space tourism will be a reality. It'll probably cost about 200,000 US dollars. So pretty insane. One thing that is possible to do today that's kind of like this is they have zero-G flights, so you can get a little bit of a taste of what it is to fly in zero-G, but those are outside of my budget, to say the least. And maybe someday I'll get the opportunity to do that. I'm sure the prices will come down as they become more popular, but you're talking maybe $10,000 a seat or something like that, so very much on the expensive end, but it'll come down. Let's see, how well are we doing? Ooh, we're gonna fall way short of Kerbal Space Center. Oh well. That's okay. I should have predicted that it's amazing how quickly the atmosphere will slow you down. So we're already below the speed to test our heat shield, although we're in the altitude range, so we didn't come as close this time as we did last time. It's going to have to be a moon mission that we pull that contract off. That's okay. We can probably do the parachute testing mission here. I would fast forward. This is the spot more than any other that you really don't want to fast forward your technology. The physics will cause all kinds of issues if you fast forward at this point in time. So we only used a little tiny bit of the ablator. We didn't really need it. That's okay. We're going to keep it on and we'll be fine. Now, you could ditch the heat shield if you wanted to. That's typically used in Mars landings. They'll ditch the heat shield because it's extra weight, and parachutes don't work really great on Mars in the first place anyways. And it's, you know, you want to get all of the weight off you can because that's how much you'll slow down. But we'll keep it on and be able to sell it back. It'll give us a little bit of extra cushioning just in case we're coming in too fast. Yeah, Wilbert and Danbro, you guys didn't hear that. Now, in reality, of course, you would test one of these missions without any people on first, if you can get away with it, and then after that, you would test it with maybe some employees, like Jebediah would test it without the Kerbalots, and then you would do it with the tourists. But yeah, what is gonna happen? What could go wrong? Nothing at all. Yeah, we're going. This is a really good speed. So we weren't able to do the parachute contract either. We were coming in a little bit too fast to do that, but that's okay. And now we're just gonna skip down to the surface. Next time we're gonna do airplanes. Probably not a space plane yet, but we're going to cover some of the basics of how airplanes are used and what you need to do to fly them. Believe it or not, airplanes are quite a bit more complex than rockets in a lot of ways. It takes a lot more precision to build them, especially, you know, we have the rocket engines. Rocket engines are very, very complex vehicles, but aircraft are possibly more difficult. Let's go ahead and recover, and thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.